Hey, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another beautiful day. Welcome to the Daily Dose. Happy Wednesday. You hear the birds chirping. I got a special surprise for you. Yes, I see you over there. We'll be over there in just a minute. Good morning, good morning. Listen, oh man, what a beautiful day. Already been up a few hours. Good morning to you when you come on here live. Let me know where you live in this world. It'd be awesome. Appreciate you for being here. Welcome to the Daily Dose, 8 a.m. Daily Dose. This is episode number 24. So welcome to you. I see some eyeballs looking, that little eye sign in the top corner. Let me know. Just give me a little thumbs up or a little wave. It's okay to be social. That's kind of what Facebook is for, to be social. So good morning. I see some squirrels. I usually have the back of me. I'm in my office now. It's the back porch with everybody home, right? I don't know if you feel me, if you're getting pushed out of your space. Actually, the wife is really cool. I got back from the beach from walking the dog, and now the wife headed to the beach. She's not going to work today. She got kind of cut back on her hours, and maybe some of you have as well. That sun's coming up. And she was down there with the paddleboard. So if you're down at the beach and see somebody out on the ocean paddleboarding, if you live near me, that would probably be one of the people that are probably out there. One of them is my wife. And I was like, oh, awesome. Just don't fall in because it's a little bit cold. So she headed down there. But I do have a special little kind of surprise I want to share with you today. If you've been listening to the birds, you can hear them in the background. Good morning to you. We're going to talk about temptation. Tempting, it's something I've heard a while back. I don't know if it was a pastor or I just heard it. Maybe it was something I saw or read. But temptation, the one thing about temptation, it's very tempting. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, just to give a moment or two for everybody getting their cup of coffee. Got your coffee? Got my coffee in here. Just on a side note, it's pretty cool. Actually, my student ministry time is coming to a close as far as this season goes. We haven't been doing our normal. In fact, tonight we do our groups, our meetups, and typically we're at the church. But of course, if you know, most churches aren't doing, I would say the majority of them aren't having any kind of services or they're kind of shut down. The good news is that God's still working. In fact, I think he's doing some amazing things right now, even despite churches being closed. One of the cool things we see, this is my Yeti coffee mug, and these are all the talks of different things that over the last couple of years, I've been working in student ministry, just serving kind of on a volunteer basis, serving. If you know anything about church, the serve is part of it, just kind of giving back, and not so much that's earning your way with God. It's just because God's been doing so many good things in my life, and it's just a way to give back. And one of the things that's been pretty exciting is I've been able to walk with some students on their journey of faith and helping to point them closer to God. And that's been an amazing journey for me. But they are seniors this year. The guys are seniors, and they're definitely bummed. It's definitely a disappointing time. And I say that with respect to this, because one of the cool things, I would say, it wasn't really so cool. There's a lot of things that are tempting, right? When we were in school, maybe I don't know if you can think back that long. For me, it was a long time, maybe 30 years, or it's almost 30 years. I graduated high school, so more than 30 years that I was in the high school, like where my kids are. My son's in a junior year, my daughter is a freshman, and it's been a long time. But I remember there's lots of things that were tempting then. Temptations, good things, but then there was also some things I knew I shouldn't be doing and getting in trouble. Hey, Daniel, what's up? DJ. And I wanted to just take a few moments today to share with you some thoughts on temptation. So I wanted to ask you, and I say that this morning, I fell in a lure, I fell in a trap. And I've been doing really, really well, just minding my eyes, not taking part in news. I mean, news is, I had mentioned this before, news is meant for us to look at, not to watch, like a show, right? You can watch a movie and know that, hey, there's an hour here and there. But again, it's really hard, and they do a really good job to lure you in, right? And I would say I didn't get lured into the news on TV because I just keep my TV off the majority of time. But I did get lured in today, going on social media and just kind of looking on Facebook, and I literally started scrolling. Next thing you know, it was like 40 minutes. And I was like, dang, it was tempting because I started to go down this like rabbit hole, started to look at somebody posting something about, I don't know, something opening up or people going back to work or asking, do you think people should go back? Should we get back our businesses? And I have a small business. I know what it's like. I know it must be hard for some who have businesses to run. So I was like feeling for them, but I kind of got lured in, and then it started to me look at comments and things like that. And it wasn't encouraging, let's just say that. And I would say as I got freed up from that, if you will, bondage, if you will, that temptation, it started to pull me down. And then I said, well, I had to get out of here. I have to do my quiet time. Again, my morning starts at 4:30, and 4:30, like I said, I had my coffee, and then I got on my phone, and I made the mistake of getting on my phone. I typically try to like push it aside until maybe an hour and a half. The sun's starting to come up. Whoa, okay. Well, sorry, I had to move the table. And that sun's starting to peer up over me and shine this bright shine. And it might be blocking you from hearing what I'm saying with this big shiny dome. So anyway, back to what I was saying is that I got lured in, and it wasn't, next thing you know, it was like 45 minutes. I was like wasting time, and I don't have that time to waste. So I got lured, and that's really what I wanted to share with you today about, like, how do you avoid some of those things that are tempting? Like, have you ever felt like you've been baited? Like, that's the thing. I think a lot of people right now, because we have extra time, hey, and don't get me wrong, I'm partly baiting you in here right now to listen to me. Excuse me, but my only hopes is to provide you with some encouragement for your day today, to give you something of value so that you can not just wake up and go through the mediocre, maybe, getting upset with yourself, being disappointed, being angry, being bitter. And those are all feelings and emotions that I get, and we all have them. There's parts of those things that are in here and feeling that. And I feel for people that are struggling. I feel for people that are sick. I feel for businesses. I feel for the schools and the teachers that can't, and the students that can't be at school, although I don't think they're worried too much about that. At least my kids aren't teenagers. They don't mind not going back to school. So again, but everything is a bit up in the air. And I would say it's easy to fall down these rabbit holes. And I can just share with you, if you've ever been baited like that, I'd love to, and you don't have to tell us what it is, but if you just say, yeah, I totally feel you, next thing you know, I'm pulling down. It's kind of like what Netflix does, and they do a good job to lure us away from reality by pulling us in. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy a nice Netflix binge here and there, but it is something that can literally take your life away. Basically, think about this. For every hour you spend watching Netflix or watching the news, you don't get it back. Just like here, don't get me wrong, you won't get the time you're watching with me right now back. But if it can provide some encouragement to lead you away from those things that are going to kind of run, they say, what is it? When you wake up in the morning, you can let the day basically rule you or run your day, or you can wake up and you can run and you can be the one that's going to run your day or rule your day. It's up to you. It is a choice. Obviously, it is something that you have to choose. But even with guardrails up, like even with a plan and structure, it's still hard. I got kind of fallen into that today. It makes me think of like my son for like a couple of years was into fishing. He got into fishing in between. He got like a skateboard injury and he got into fishing, and he would go down to the beach. And he had these lures, and if you go bass fishing, he had these lures, and I'm not really well versed or an expert on fishing, but I know he started to learn, and when he started to learn, he started to like find out what are the best lures and best things and that's kind of what's happening right now, right? Is like we get lured in. I'm luring you in a bit, but again, hopefully this to provide value. I'm not trying to send you down this rabbit hole of frustration and things that can cause you to have a terrible day. Like there's nothing worse than waking up and starting your day with bad news, starting your day with disappointment, starting your day with aggravation, starting your day with stress and anxiety. Again, those are things that are tempting to fall in, and we can have things that can fuel those, like news media, or maybe, relationships, maybe, just our own mindset, our own thoughts, and it's really up to you. It's kind of interesting. I was back to my son with the fishing. I have to share the story. I think it's pretty cool, and I think the sun's going away. So with fishing, so he got into where he's fishing small fish. They were like, I don't know, I forget the names of them. They were just like little fish. They're like this big. And then he realized he can catch some bigger fish with those little fish. So he used that as a lure. And then he started to get like redfish. He'd get redfish off here. And then he realized, he started reading and learning. He started to use different lures. And then he realized, well, there's people that get sharks. They go and they can go offshore and they can take bait, a bigger bait, like a bigger lure, a different lure for a different fish, a bigger fish, right? And of course, as you're a kid, that's what you want. You want the bigger fish. And I kid you not, and if you ever been following me for any period of time, you remember, hey, by the way, good morning to you, Debbie and Cynthia. Good morning, good morning. Cynthia and Cynthia, two Cynthias, good morning to you. Is that I'll never forget, he was taking a break from fishing. Now, he was, mind you, he's 16 now, going to be almost 17 soon, and he was probably 12, maybe 12. So he was fishing down there, and he learned about shark fishing, and he learned that if you take big bait, chunks of like bait, like big pieces of fish, I don't even know, like really smelly fish, and I can't remember exactly what type of fish it was. Again, I'm not the expert, he was, but I remember going to the seafood shop and buying some of the stuff, and it wasn't cheap, but you know what? It was better than him getting in trouble, so by all means, fish your heart out. And so he did that. So, and he was down there, and I'll never forget, he caught some small sharks, like little ones, and then he learned how to catch a bigger shark. But anyway, the point was, one day, he learned how to take a kayak with bait. Now, they don't allow you to do that anymore. And it was, I would say, I was nervous at the time. But he pulled in, him and his friend one day, we were down at the beach, he pulled in a shark that was close to 8 foot long. I'm talking bigger than me. The thing was a monster. It was unreal. Like, I could not even, he, 12 years old, 12 or 13. He couldn't have been older than 13. Him and another friend pulled us in. And I was like blown away. Like, I just couldn't believe that even a 13-year-old with the right lure could get in and pull in. And I can't remember, it was like a nurse shark, but it was like huge. It was 8 foot long. And then they were bold enough. Now it got tired. They knew they had the right rod, they had the right line, they had all the things lined up, everything to get that shark, and they got it. And they pulled it in on shore. And then don't worry, it didn't kill it or eat it or anything like that. We pulled it back in. I was nervous. Thankfully, the shark was tired. But the point is that shark was tempted by that bait. And I would say, that's so easy for us. What happens is, whether it's the news, whether it's social media, whether it's a relationship with somebody, whether it's somebody you follow that causes you to act in a certain way. And the problem with the temptation, that's kind of the point to it, is that it can lead you to a direction that only ends up in really kind of one of two things. Like, you could be tempted by me, by coming in and having encouragement, or the other direction, which tends to be something more in lines with what temptation is tempting. That's what I had mentioned before. There's something about it that wants us. I'm not talking about fish now. I'm just talking about life, that we're lured in. And I would say that can lead to a dark place. And today, again, not so much to be encouraged, but to maybe be mindful of what's luring you in today. And, you have kind of two options, the way I feel, as far as you can either go towards something like lure, like a fish, if you think of in the bait, or you can run away from it. And the best way to do that, and the best way to combat it, is to go the other direction, go towards positivity, go towards thinking that I'm going to have a good day today. If you fill your mindset starting now, no matter what your circumstances are. And again, I know everybody's built a little differently. I know we got introverts and extroverts and people that are designed differently, and that's a beautiful thing. God designs you, and He designed me. He designed only one bald 47-year-old Mark Avens. There's just one of me, right? And He knows, even though I used to, and I don't have them anymore, He knows exactly how many hairs are on your head. He knows that everybody's unique, and He builds us all differently. But He also just realized He builds us really with purpose and significance. And that is not to fall down those rabbit holes that can get you in trouble, that can lead you to causing to things like, as Christians say, sin, and do things that you know are just not right. And again, I'm just going to make it really straightforward. It's the things you know you shouldn't be doing or shouldn't. We say, in Scripture, it talks about loving yourself, having love for yourself because you know how much God loves you, but then also loving others as yourself. And it's hard to do that if we're angry and bitter and spreading gossip and making negative comments and being mean to other people. It's too hard to do. What I learned one of the things I learned is that it's hard if you're a Christian, and even if you know what's good inside, regardless of your faith, is the one thing is it's hard to look up at God and look at what He has for your life and look down at people at the same time. You can't do one and the other. You can't have one eye up at God and one eye down at others. It just isn't possible. And the one thing I find myself attracted to as I draw my closeness to God is that He fills me up like no other temptation. I'll tell you what, you can be filled with things that are tempting and that can lead you. And I can just tell you, Look at all the things that I say temptation. And don't get me wrong, these are all things that can be good. Like, sex is not necessarily a bad thing, but that can lead you down a dark road if it's used for the wrong purposes. Addictions and alcohol and drugs and all those things, right? Those can lead you down some dark tunnels, a dark road's path. And if you know anything about things that aren't good, typically they end up not ending up in good situations of circumstances. So again, this is not me to make any judgments to any of you at all. Hey, welcome. Thank you, Antonio and Guy and Vinny. Welcome for being on here. But just back to that is we have a choice, and it really is up to you. So I'm going to ask, the other thing is, and I have to share you this. I do have a surprise. So if you're watching, you need to watch to the end, because I have a very special surprise I'm going to share with you, something that my wife and I discovered yesterday, and you're going to want to hang on. So hang on here with me. My grandfather said, I have to share this, and really it can set your mood. The one thing that can set your mood too is if you start entertaining those things that are tempting, that can set your mood up for the day. I just shared with you a sunrise earlier this morning, and it set my mood off. It actually transitioned my mood from what it actually first did when I started to go down that lure of social media and looking at those posts. But then I went to the sunrise and I said, you know what, God's got some better plan for me today, and I'm going to go in that direction. I'm going to be tempted with what God has for me, because I know that's what's been filling me up, and it's what's kept me at peace through all of this. So again, what I wanted to share with you is my grandfather once said, he said this saying. He had a number of sayings, and my dad used to say, he's like, and I've used this even with my kids. He said, Mark, I remember when he got old, he said, well, you get what you get, and you don't get upset, right? You get what you get, and you don't get upset. We're all in kind of up in the air. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, and we're getting what we're getting. Like, there's things that we don't have control over, things that we can't even see, right? This virus that nobody can see. But I say you don't get upset. Well, you have the option to get upset, and the easiest way to get upset is to lure and get yourself lured down those roads of temptation that can lead you down dark places that can leave you feeling lost, upset, angry, bitter, anxious, stressed out, emotional. Hey, and don't get me wrong, I know that there's a mental component that goes on, and somebody had a conversation with somebody that said, you should talk about mental health. That's things, if you're going to pull yourself into things that are tempting, it's going to stir stuff in your mental health. And I would tell you, if you can, here's the thing, Proverbs I'm going to just share with you. This is Proverbs 17:22. And this goes into keeping your mind focused on positivity, on keeping yourself encouraged, on looking at sunrises and things that can get you through your day and making the difference in your life versus being pulled into those things that are tempting. Proverbs 17:22 says, a cheerful heart is good medicine. It's hard to be cheerful if you're getting lured into things that are being negative and negativity and anger. Because, I did that this morning. In fact, my heart was not cheerful when I got up this morning and I realized I wasted 45 minutes getting pulled down rabbit holes of people what they posted. And I can't get that time back. And part of me was a little disappointed, but I would say that was not good medicine for me. And here's the thing. The second part of that says a cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. Think of that. That's pretty heavy. I don't know if that leans in on you, but I would prefer to have a cheerful heart of encouragement, of enthusiasm, of a positive attitude. I hope that this provided it. And if none of what I said is providing, what I'm going to share with you next, you're going to love. So come with me here for a minute. You're going to have to stay. So if you might have noticed right now that in this morning, you've heard some birds. In fact, if you've been watching the Daily Dose for any period of time with me, you've heard a bunch of birds. And I said there's these beautiful cardinals, and they're pretty amazing. In fact, I see the guy right there. You hear him. You hear that noise? That's a cardinal. Let me just share this with you. This is not even... Oh, there's one. So there he is. See the one on the wire there, and then there's the one in the corner. If you see that right there. See that guy right there? Check that out. See him? That's just for you, by the way. And then the other one right here. Oh, there he goes, right up there. But check this out. I'm going to share with you something even more beautiful. Check this out. Now, hopefully it won't get too mad. And I don't know if you can see. And I don't know if you can see in there. Let's see if I can get in there. Oh, he's mad. I'm not going to bother you. But if you can see in there. Little babies. Don't worry, I'm not going to be bothering. Sorry, I'm not going to be bothering you. Don't worry, I'm just peeking. Oh, see, they're mad. I won't stay. Well, that is, check this out. Sorry, you hear him? He's mad. He's pissed. He's like, get away from that nest. Don't worry, I didn't bother the nest. But there was little babies when we were working out yesterday afternoon. We saw a cardinal nest. It was really, really awesome, a little cardinal nest. Check this out. Hey, I'm just gonna share with you a little bit of my backyard. You see that right there? Those are called antler ears. I forget the name of that bush, but it is, let me turn this around, see if I can give this to you. So you see this guy right here? Check this out. So those are called antler ears. This was in my wife's family as a kid growing up. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty awesome. We do nothing. We just literally hung it from the tree. She brought it from South Florida. She lived in Boca Raton growing up. And she had that as a kid growing up. And I think they just fed it banana peels and stuff. And then when her mom moved, she brought it up. And we actually put it in the back here. It's been here ever since we've been here, probably after mom moved here, but for 15 years. And it just sits there. It's beautiful. So anyway, some beautiful things to think about. Listen, you have your day today to be filled with encouragement. If you like this, and I appreciate you watching and spending time with me, so thank you. I know you can't get this time back, but I think it'd be better than maybe some of those other things that are luring you in, that are tempting you towards maybe feeling bad about yourself, or feeling angry at the world, or being disappointed in our government, or being mad at your neighbor because they think a different way. The reality is we can't change. There's a lot of things we can't change, but you can change your mindset. You can change the things you focus on. And my point for doing this daily dose at episode 24 is just to provide you with some encouragement for today. So listen, that's all I have. All I ask in return is if this was encouraging to you, that you share this with a friend, because here's the thing. I know we can spend our entire lives being discouraged. We can, fall down those rabbit trails and go down those lures that can take us into these deep, dark places, or we can use other people in our lives that are going to build you up, encourage you to keep your mind focused and being enthusiastic about life, that you have another day. That sun came up today. You have another day that you can live. You can truly live. Even though there's people that are living right now, I feel like there's a lot of people that wake up and they're dead. Like they feel like there's no hope. They've lost all hope. They've lost all hope in this world. They've lost all hope in people. They've lost all hope in the government. They've lost all hope in themselves. And I'm just going to share this with you, is that please don't give up on yourself. Be encouraged that you have another day. If you woke up today and you have a breath in your lung, you have another day that you can progress and you can take one step forward. Now, with regards to your health, if that looks like you need some help in your health and you need to lose some weight and you need to get in better shape, you and I can talk about that. But more importantly, today's message is about tempting and things that are tempting. And I just caution you to be careful. Caution you to be careful. There you go. That's a very wise one, is to be careful with how you're spending your day, where you're putting your mind to. And I'll tell you what, if this daily dose of encouragement helped you, my day is complete. So thank you for watching. Again, check this out on a daily basis, 8 a.m. I hope you enjoyed. I didn't see the little birds coming out, the little, whatever they're called, the cardinal babies. But they are chirping. They're happy now that I stayed away from the nest. Take care and have a blessed day. We'll see you.